Hello, wonderful people. All of my Instagram friends. I'm coming on today to do another live video, and actually it's kind of a continuation of the one that I did yesterday, and I'm going to talk about that. Yesterday I came on and I told you that I had recorded a video that said we were all brainwashed. And what I was talking about is what's going on in the world, that we all see what is happening. We're all at odds with one another, so to speak, because we're trying to understand what's happening. We're afraid. We don't get what's going on. We see all the division, and it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. And I thought I needed to do something to kind of help change things a little bit. I did that video, and I had to send it out because it came to me after I did the channeling session on the full moon last Wednesday, which kind of still blew me away. And I know a lot of people have watched it, and I hope you do see it. All the videos that I'm talking about, they're on my YouTube channel, Roger Burnley Coaching. And the one that I talked about yesterday, the one where I said, we were all brainwashed, that one is up there as well. And even my family didn't know that I had done that because, see, we don't have the same beliefs. We don't hold all the same beliefs, even though we're family. But there's a reason for that. And that's why I did the video. We all have different reasons for why we are on the earth, for why we have different beliefs, why we have different ideas. And it's individual, it's unique, and they're all important. Everyone's reason for being here, everyone's purpose is essential. That's why I am an intuitive life purpose coach, because I know a lot of people don't think that what they're doing is that meaningful, or maybe they don't have that purpose, and everyone does. It may take you some time in your life to figure out what that is. Did for me. That's what was going on. And so I know that everyone does have that. So what I did was I sent this out, and then my family was like, wow, this was really weird. I said, I'm saying that because we're coming upon the holidays. And let me warn you, they're going to be a little different. They are going to be different for you because no matter where you are, you're going to be with your family, and they're going to all have different ideas. They're going to all have different beliefs and thoughts about what has happened in the world or what is happening in the world. There are going to be some who are going to think everything's going to hell. There are going to be others who say, oh, no, this is great and it's going to a good place. Doesn't matter. You have to find yours. You know, what I'm always doing when I'm working with my clients, that's why initially I said this is empowerment, meaning that you're getting to own who you are. That's how you live your life. That's how you become successful. That's how you do anything. You can't do that unless you become that empowered person, which means owning every aspect of who you are. Sometimes that's challenging. You don't want to talk about certain things because you're going to get judged, or you're gonna get into a fight. You're that kind of person. You know that if you talk to somebody, you're gonna punch them out because they're gonna say something you're not gonna agree with, and that's because you're not really fully believing what you're trying to get them to understand. You will get that. I want you to understand that because that's really the reason for a lot of our yelling and why we're fighting and doing all of that, because we're trying to believe in what we think we believe. That's what's really going on a lot of the time. When I did the Wilhelm session last Wednesday, as I mentioned, it started out with your truth is always correct. They're talking about every single person. You see, every person's truth is correct because you're living that truth based on what your soul has you here to do, what you're on the earth to accomplish. It's not going to look like anybody else. You're the only person who can do that. You know, I know that there's more that's coming out with all of this. I'm doing another channeling session this Saturday. I would love for you all to either show up or just register. What I'm doing now, when these come up, when I do them, I'm going to record them all, and anyone who registers, I will send you the replay, so you do not have to be there in person. Those people who are there in person you can ask questions, during the session. But what is happening is we are moving into a new world. And when that happens, we go through birth. And I'm talking about what's happened over generations in our world. I'm just talking about the process of evolution. And so as we go through that, that birth process is challenging because we're scared. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what the new world is going to look like. And as it's come through in many of the channeling sessions, that's how we acted when we were born, when we came into the world. Like, where the hell are we? Why are we here? Well, we're finding that out now, at least a lot of us are. This period is about that. This period, which Wilhelm has been calling the restructuring, meaning the entire world is changing, which means you got to change. But a lot of us aren't doing that. And, and I get to see this because over the years, as I've done my work, as I work with my clients, I know the resistance that's there. I know the fear that people have about following that thing that they think that they're supposed to do in their lives. And I have the firm belief that when you become willing to do what you were born to do, and you were born to do something, when you become willing to do that, all of a sudden your life changes. You start to become happy. You start to become more prosperous. You have more money. All of those things happen. But a lot of times we're not willing to even venture into that because, as I said in the brainwashed video, we were brainwashed into thinking we weren't capable, you see. We were brainwashed into thinking that everybody else had what we wanted, and that's never true. Every single person is that important. So I'm going to talk about something else, because this was a real challenge. My family, again, they have different beliefs. I want you to understand this. I'm using this as an example because you're going to experience that. When I talked about the vaccine, I said I got it because that's what I do, and I know that I'm working with science and spirituality, and that seemed really crazy, but that's how I see it. You see, we come in to do different things. And to explain this, I watched Selma Blair's documentary on Netflix last night. And Selma decided, she's going through multiple sclerosis, and she decided that she was going to show this. Because when we have something that is challenging like that, it's always for a reason. You may not know that while you're going through it, but it's always for a reason. And that reason is to cause you to evolve. But also, as you do that, you give it back to the world. Now, Selma obviously had some sort of an awareness of this because she was willing to be very vulnerable. She was willing to show exactly what she was going through. And she wanted to expose more information about stem cell research and what is happening with that. Because when we always evolve when we go through these crazy periods where we develop more technology, where we develop more scientific things. That is what has happened even with the vaccine, even though everybody's fighting about that. And so, but you have to understand something else. We're doing it for different reasons. That's the big part. We're not getting. For me to look at, and this is again, I have 3 brothers. I'm going to explain this because you will have some of this in your family. I was born different than they were, you see, and so were you. You were born different than any one of your siblings, any one of your parents. We all were. But I'm going to give you just a vivid kind of experience example of this, which also relates to many other things. When I was born, there was something not quite right. They didn't know what it was. And they just told, and none of my family knew any of this either. My mother didn't even talk about it until many, many years later, why I asked her a question. I said, why wasn't I circumcised? Now that seems really crazy, but I had to find that out later in my adult life. I don't know if my brothers knew all of this. And then she told me. She said, because when you were born, there was something that was not quite right with you in your body, and the doctors didn't know what it was, and so they didn't want anything. They didn't want me breastfeeding you. They didn't want you touched, nothing, until they could figure out what it was. They never did. So that was okay. That's how I came into the world. And as I went through my life, then I come into a family that's of Christian Scientists. If you don't know what that is, that's when you don't take any medicine. You do everything through your mind, through your thoughts, and all of that, which I truly believe that is possible. That is, you can do that. Many people have done it. Not all can. See, because even though I was in that family, I couldn't do it. And then because I could not get the regular vaccines that all the other kids were getting, because we used my religious exemption to do that, and as a result of that, I ended up with so many other secondary illnesses and diseases. I had all of the illnesses that could have been prevented from the vaccines. I didn't. I got all of them, and it was horrible. My entire childhood, as I went through all of that, and then in my adult life, I went through many others that are subsequently connected to those earlier illnesses. Not everybody has that. Some of you will understand that. Some of you have seen that in your own lives. But that is just the way humans work. That's where science works. But we're not all supposed to do that. I was given the information that, no, I'm supposed to figure this out. See, and that's where the spirituality comes into it. Because when we understand that we as humans come into the world to evolve and add something new, we do that with the information that was here before. And a lot of that is scientific. Everything that you're seeing in our world that is existing now came from that. When someone decided, oh, wait a minute, science and spirituality and human development and how we can make our world better all come together. And sometimes you don't come into it till you later in your life. And I'm saying that because what inspired me more was Albert Einstein. Some of you will know what that means because he came to this awareness later in his life and developed all of these things that have caused our lives to be completely different. So I'm sure a lot of you will get something out of this, will understand it, but watch the videos. I put the full moon video, the replay of that. It's on my channel, on my YouTube channel, and so you will watch that. Again, coming up to the holidays and all of that, it's going to be a little challenging because we're still going through this. We're going to be going through it for a little while. And Wilhelm will give us some information on that on Saturday, and I hope more of you can attend that as well. All right, I'll see you guys soon.